Good
Good
morning.
morning. How are you today?
All good. Another lovely Thursday morning. Beautiful weather after the rains.
Absolutely wonderful rains we've had in the Western Cape, and the earth is nice and wet after a very dry summer, which was important. We needed that for the deciduous fruit, but
Yep.
it's just good. It's just good to see the earth wet and all the
Fresh.
plants and the fynbos and everything is just looking wonderful.
Yeah.
Okay, so our news lined up for the week. I think the big news, not just locally, internationally, is the US imposes 30% tariff on South African agricultural exports. We know that Donald Trump has made several, he's put tariffs out there for everyone, and the people that he particularly doesn't like, the tariffs are higher. And unfortunately, South Africa falls into that bracket.
It's not about the tariffs it's not that it's higher for the people he doesn't like. He just made it equal. So if a country imposes 40% tariffs on importing US product and the US is only imposing a 10% tariff, he has simply leveled it out. So he's added another 30% to their tariffs. That is all he's done. So he's just made the playing field equal.
Yes, indeed. And there are all kinds of interesting memes going out. But let's read what it says here. In a significant policy shift, the United States has implemented a 30% tariff on a broad range of South African agricultural goods, effective as of 5 April 2025. This move, which comes at the outset of the citrus export season, is expected to have profound repercussions on South African fresh produce industry. Among the products affected are citrus fruits, wine, table grapes, fruit juices, and nuts, all key contributors to the country's agri-export earnings. Industry stakeholders have warned that these steep tariffs could erode the competitiveness of South African goods in the American market, potentially resulting in lost revenue, job cuts, and decreased investment confidence. Calls are growing for urgent diplomatic engagement to negotiate relief measures or exemptions that could safeguard market access and stabilize the industry going into a peak export season. So this is the big news the big news in South Africa, and the timing is very bad for the citrus industry because the season is just about to start.
Okay, if I can chime in here,
please do.
Yes, tariffs is not. It will have an effect, but other countries also have tariffs.
Yes.
So it's not just us. It's going to raise it's not that there's going to be on the shelf South African citrus sitting there 30% more than everybody else.
Yes.
It's all grapes or whatever the thing is. Other countries has also got tariffs. I just did a very brief search. Looks like Chile is facing new 10% tariffs in the US. And so I'd literally just typed it into Google. I didn't do much else. So I'm pretty sure that there will be other countries facing higher tariffs as well, importing this stuff. So it's not like South African fresh produce is going to sit there like a sore thumb sticking out because it's so much more expensive than the rest of it. Everything is going to be blanketly more expensive in the US. But and I've watched a lot of things over the last week about this. Actually, up to such a point where I just switched off and I said, I'm not going to watch anything to do with politics, South African or international, for a couple of days so that my news feeds can just flip and reset again. One of the things that is said is that a lot of countries, Vietnam, to name India, to name a few of these countries that got these blanket tariffs imposed on them, simply came back and said, okay, right, we are dropping all tariffs to the US.
I think for sure. And I think what we can say, because there's a lot being said and there's a lot of hot air and a lot of backward and forward going, but all we can say is there's been a major shift. We're at the beginning of a process. Things will play out, and let's see where that goes. And we really are hoping things will work out for our South African exporters. And this topic ties in with our next news item, which is Westgro, pledges support amid new US tariffs. In response to the newly enacted US tariffs, Westgro, the official tourism, trade and investment promotion agency for the Western Cape, has stepped forward to offer critical support to local exporters. Recognizing that the United States is the Western Cape's second largest export destination, important, Westgro is mobilizing resources to help agribusinesses mitigate risks and explore alternative markets. The agency will provide strategic advisory service, host workshops, and facilitate connections with trade missions. The goal is to build resilience and to ensure that the Western Cape producers can continue to thrive despite disruptions in traditional trade relationships. This is from Food for Mzansi.
Yeah. If you open up the article, which will be in the links, it says that the government is preparing another delegation. It is all they want to do is send bloody delegations and talk. It's all talk and zero action. I just heard a thing this morning again on the news. Cyril Ramaphosa is very upset about people exploiting women in the business. Now he wants to talk about that. That's all it says. He just wants to talk. Nobody does anything. I just wish they want to put their so-called rugby balla on a block and make stuff happen.
Yes, dear Walt. we live in hope, and the tariffs are not the only thing that the US is unhappy with South Africa about, and that's also been in the news. And let's see where that goes. So,
yes, okay. So on to a little bit of more good news. Western Cape allocates 1 billion rand to boost agriculture. The Western Cape government is investing heavily in its agricultural sector, with Dr. Ivan Meyer, Provincial Minister of Agriculture and Tourism, announcing a 1 billion rand allocation for the 25-26 fiscal year. This substantial funding will be directed towards bolstering critical areas such as animal health services, agricultural extension support, and export-oriented research. The goal is to not only maintain but accelerate the province's agricultural competitiveness. I think we need to do that. We are pretty number one at the moment. Particularly
I want to interrupt you and just say how much of a number one we are. The Western Cape occupies about 10% of South Africa's land surface, and we export more than 50% of the South African agricultural exports. That's a real thumbs up for our Western Cape Department of Agriculture.
Yeah, and for everybody in the sector, everybody that's involved in the sector in the Western Cape.
For sure.
It's a big team effort. Yeah. The Western Cape already contributes roughly 11% to the provincial GDP through agriculture, and this budget aims to secure food security, expand export capacity, and create rural employment opportunities. A significant portion of the funding will also support youth participation and innovation in agri-tech, promoting a modernized, inclusive agricultural economy.
Fantastic. It's good news. It's good news. And also
Minister
nice
Minister Meyer, if you are listening to this, and we will be sending it to you, we've asked countless times to come and chat to us on the podcast. Every time we see you in person, but then it seems like you are running away. Come and talk to us, please.
We are waiting for you. You are always welcome.
Right. What's next?
Yes, the expanding of new markets. Gewald, you're going to take this one, number 3.
Yeah, this has been well reported about the apples going into the Thai market. It's been in the news for a couple of weeks, so it's a good thing. Our fruit we're hopefully opening up a couple of new markets. The Agbiz Agri-Trends report is out for the first quarter, and
yes.
it's quite interesting information that's in this report, which we will also link at the bottom. It's a PDF that you can download. It's quite a lengthy document, but it's worth the read. But here's a quick summary of what it says in the news. The Agbiz Agri-Trends Autumn 2025 report offers a timely and in-depth look at how shifting global economics and trade dynamics are impacting South African agriculture. Key findings suggest that local farmers must adopt more agile and adaptive strategies to weather disruptions such as potentially protectionist trade policies, currently volatile, and climate unpredictability. The report encourages farmers and agri-exporters to diversify their markets and invest in value-adding processing to reduce dependency on traditional export partners. These insights are critical as the sector seeks long-term sustainability and an increasingly complex global economy. Right, so this ties in with the other article that you sent me earlier this week. That was on Fresh Plaza. And let me quickly put it in here. Right, this one. And this was a very interesting article. Let's give it a quick read. Most Egyptian packing houses decide to suspend citrus packing. Profound changes are affecting the Egyptian citrus industry this season, culminating in the complete shutdown of fresh citrus packing in most packing houses in recent days. Walid Hassan from TC Fruits reports on the situation. Well, we will also be linking this in the thing. But basically what happens is, because of the good juice price that the people have been getting, they have simply stopped sending their fruit to the pack houses. And this is, like we said before we started, is that if a farmer or grower has got his own pack house, it is an investment that he has made into his thing. So he will make it work and use it. But now, from what I understand, is that over there it is cooperative pack houses or a commercial pack house that accepts fruit from a variety of growers. So now the growers are getting better price to send the stuff to juice, so they're not sending it to the pack house. So now the pack houses are standing empty. So this ties in nicely with that article about the agri-trends, where they say that people should look at adding more to the value chain than just relying on exports.
Well, I think the backstory to this is also quite interesting in that the disease which has been devastating the Brazilian orange productions, called Asian greening, has been devastating the Brazilian citrus productions, which are used mostly for juice. Much of the juice, the international orange juice supply, has traditionally come from Brazil. We always say Brazil is where the nuts come from, but guess what? It's where the orange juice used to come from as well. And what's happened is that vast swathes of these citrus orchards have been devastated by this disease. So there's a massive international shortage of orange juice, which has also impacted South Africa in the last season. There were massive prices for orange juice, and a lot of the export fruit was diverted to the fruit juice factories. Egypt, which has been growing very rapidly as a country exporting citrus, and they've really been competing quite closely with South Africa as one of the biggest citrus exporters in the world. Suddenly, this massive price that people are getting for orange juice is obviously disrupting the export flow, and this is what Deval's referring to in this article. So it is actually quite something that a disease can have this effect on the world citrus industry.
Yeah, it's not just a disease; it was climate-related stuff as well. But
Indeed,
that's been very well reported, and in a couple of our podcasts we've talked about it. But I'm looking at I just did a search for orange juice future prices right now for today. Okay, it peaked on the 1st of October last year at $529 per ton, I think. It was a lot, very expensive. Then it had a significant drop to a low point, which was on the 1st of March at 243. I see it slightly climbing again. It's up by 10%, so it's at 259.
So that's quite something that orange juice prices have gone up like that, and people love their orange juice, and the good old OJ on the table in the morning with breakfast. People are paying a lot more for orange juice, and
and
they're still choosing to buy it.
And with students drinking less, you don't get vodka and OJ anymore.
Well, let's put it this way.
Or mimosas. For the fancy people.
Well, just look at the effect of this, of the shortage from Brazil, the effects it's having internationally. So it's interesting, as you say, it's important to watch international agricultural trends and to be aware of these things, because they can affect one quite a bit.
But it would be, one should actually keep a close eye on this futures, orange juice futures price thing, and just to see what's going to happen, because nobody knows yet, and we've discussed it previously. People are planting juice trees for juice production.
Yes.
So they that's going to come into effect probably in about 3 to 5 years, the new plantings. What will happen then?
Yes, and as we heard at the Citrus Summit, a lot of people are ordering trees with the idea of planting to supply for the juice market. So let's see where this one goes as well.
Right, and then around the corner soon is Nampo, which will be just see what the date is. It's normally middle of May. So Nampo in the Free State, the big one, is coming up soon.
It's such a massive event, and the country's entire agricultural sector descends on Bothaville, and it's quite a big industry event, and in fact I would say it's quite a cultural event too. Something that I would like to experience sometime.
A lot of tire kicking between the big machines.
Yes, there's that too. There is a lot of that as well.
Then I think the last one that we can chat about, which has also been reported on, is the balanced growth predicted for our own South African exports in citrus. Do you want to take this one?
Well, okay, I'll take this one. And considering we've discussed citrus quite a bit already, I think this is it fits in nicely. The Citrus Growers Association of Southern Africa has released its first forecast for 2025, projecting steady and balanced growth across citrus categories. The estimates align closely with the 5-year average, suggesting a stable and well-managed supply outlook. Key markets include Europe, the Middle East, and Asia remain strong, and early reports indicate that fruit quality is exceptional this season. This bodes well for exporters seeking to maintain or expand their global footprint while avoiding the pitfalls of oversupply and downward price pressure.
Yeah, we will, and like we just said, I think a lot of that will depend on what's happening with the orange juice price. Will it affect it again this year? Honestly, I don't think in my personal opinion, the tariffs will will make a significant drop in exports to the US. So we'll just see.
We hope so. We really hope so. We're hoping for the citrus producers that that this kind of stuff will get sorted out, and that there will be some semblance of business as usual going forward. So that's it this morning, is it, Devot?
Yes. Okay. Look, we are in a changing time worldwide, and it is quite a depressing time, to be honest. With I certainly found it a bit depressing listening and reading about all of these things. But then, as you said, we must just put our head down, keep our nose to the grindstone and just carry on. What can we do?
There's, as they say, cry and you cry alone, smile, and the world smiles with you. We just need to keep going and make things happen. So this is our news for the week. And thanks for listening.
All right. Chat soon.
Thanks a lot. Chat again.
Bye.
Bye.